Hello and welcome to my weekly astrological forecast. I'm Natha Campanella. I'm an astrologer and I help people like you learn how to know yourselves better. And that's a really, really big quest, isn't it? But we all tend to show up in the world in ways that are inauthentic to who we are because we're worried about conditioning, we're worried about performing, and over the long term, that can be really painful because we lose touch with our needs and our wants and our desires. And I help people figure out what all of those things are. So let's talk about this week, the week of October 7th through the 13th. And like I said last time, we have a month of Pluto. This week is no different. I did a post about Pluto going direct last week, and so many of you commented with the things in your life that you had noticed were things that you needed to work on that had really presented themselves clearly to you during this Pluto retrograde. And I would encourage you to keep doing that kind of introspective work. Venus moves into the sign of Scorpio. Mercury is already there. Mars is not far behind. And Venus in Scorpio has a completely different flavor than Venus in Libra. So Scorpio, remember, is a sign that wants the truth and wants to really explore what's really there without the BS. Libra's kind of content to rest on the surface and will take things at face value. But Scorpio does not want to do that. And as we have all of these planets moving into Scorpio, we also have the Sun moving into Scorpio later this month, and we have Mercury going retrograde in Scorpio. Plus, you're going to love this, we have a full moon at the end of this week on Sunday, and it's Sunday the 13th, and Pluto is in an exact square. So what that means, the Sun is in Libra, the moon is all the way across the sky in Aries, and we have Pluto there. So this is a week as we build up to this full moon where we might have some revelations, some awakenings. Now, the way that we kind of hear this stuff the best is sometimes through surprises, sometimes through things that we don't necessarily expect are going to show up. So don't let that scare you, but know that, Scorpio and Pluto, when they're dysfunctional, it ends up looking like we're blaming other people for our problems, or we're avoiding the conversations that we need to have, or we're indulging in our addictive tendencies, or, our defense mechanisms are really up and firm. Be aware this week of those things wanting to show up. And if you notice that you're knee deep in any of those things, then the question is, what do I need to bring awareness to? What am I not seeing here? Because this whole month of October, with all of this Plutonian influence, we're supposed to be identifying the things that act as shadows in our lives that are keeping us resentful and pissed off and jealous and angry. Because you know what? Those things are part of being human, but we don't necessarily have to just keep them around all the time. This is a really good month to look out. To kind of see, like, what else is there for me? Do I have to remain stuck in a place of total resentment with this person? Or am I blaming this person or my childhood or whatever for my current state of distress? And I think that we all do that. And those are really shaky foundations because we're giving the power away. And this month, especially this full moon, is going to ask that we take our power back. The moon being in Aries is about standing strong. It's about advocating and asserting for ourselves. And the sun being in Libra is about bringing balance to our relationships. So Pluto is going to say, what's underneath that? Are you standing up for yourself? Are your relationships balanced? And then as we have Mercury and Venus and soon to be Mars moving into Scorpio, more of that, like, what's the truth? What's the real truth here? Not my fantasy truth, not what I wish was happening, not my story that I've kind of molded and built up to make me the victim and make somebody else the abuser, or to make me the righteous one and somebody else the bad one. So those are the themes that we're looking at for this week. And speaking of really knowing ourselves, I am offering right now a class. It's a self-study program, so you can do it in your own time, but it's a wonderful prologue and epilogue to a personal astrology reading because we get to go really, really deep. This is a great month, right? Like we're exploring the truth of who I am. Like, what do I really need? Why am I really relating to all of my life situations in this way? So if you're interested in learning more about that class, I'm going to include the link below. It'll also be in my social media. You can also find it on my website at nathacampanella.com. And if you know of somebody that can really benefit from this message about the weekly energies, tag them or send this video to them. All right, and as always, if you have questions or comments about your own spiritual process, you can send me a DM or you can leave a comment, and everybody else can learn from my response and your response and so on. All right, you guys have a wonderful week. Happy full moon, and I will see you next week.